Good morning, guys. It's Sullivan here in Philadelphia. Thanks for coming back to my channel. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I am having a thing with dahlias. I have always loved them as a cut flower for arranging, but this year I had decided that I was going to order 20 of my favorites and just kind of see how it went. And instead, I ended up planting 175. So I have lots of beauty shots of all of these guys, and I'm just going to kind of talk you through some of the stuff that I've learned and mention a couple of places that I learned a lot. And I am by no means an expert dahlia gardener, but these beauties will make you feel like you know what you're doing when it comes to growing flowers. So stay tuned and let's talk about the first phase of my dahlia project. My outfit is brought to you by Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice meets Old MacDonald. If you love all things flora like I do, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. New videos go up Mondays and Thursdays, and the next video is going to be a design that I do with all of these. That's like a heart eye emoji if I ever saw one. So let's get started. So yeah, I don't have too much to say about why I did this. I just thought it would be cool. That's how a lot of my work happens. It's why I'm making YouTube videos. I thought that flowers would be good on camera. And so a few years ago, I started learning as much as I could about making videos, and now a few years later I feel like I can put these out there for people to see. It's the same with growing the flowers. For 10 years I've been doing flowers and meeting amazing people who are professional growers who juggle maybe 1 or 2 specialized crops per growing year. And you know, having had conversations with them, I know that what it really takes to grow beautiful flowers is commitment and love for what you do, because it's all work. I mean, even for me, I would come out here for an hour or two every day in planting season and work on them. Nothing I've done so far has given me such an insight into just a little taste of what some of the growers that I have gotten to know go through. This is stressful. We have had insane weather. We have had so much rain. This is a hobby crop for me. This is just like an experiment in fun. And there are growers up and down the East Coast that are having late dahlias, no dahlias because of the weather, rotten fields underwater. There's just so much that goes into this. And so it's great to show beautiful eye candy flowers on Instagram and to admire flowers or admire those of us that get to work with them. But there are people growing these things all over the world, in your backyard and all over the world. There are whole families that for generations have learned to grow incredible flowers. And if I could get one thing out of this project and sharing it with everybody, is that when you look at a flower, there is a person behind that. The thing about dahlias above or below zone 7, and 7's really sort of like the line. You can try leaving your dahlias in the ground, but they may rot over the winter. But part of why I felt like I could take this on was because this is temporary. They're an annual. I have to dig this all up. I will have flowers, probably even more flowers, because they like this weather that we're having and sun. And I'm going to have flowers until the first frost. And then I will I will continue this series for you guys and show you digging them up, saving the tubers, and talking about if I'm going to even add any more, because I'd love to see the tubers can multiply. So any of these plants that had dieback or that had like mid-season damage, I just left them in the ground and they're getting cared for because there's still the tuber under there. So I can dig that up in the fall, or it is fall, after the first frost, and see how many tubers I have for next year. So that was exciting to me because this is a temporary garden. It's just kind of a flower installation experiment. And I think that that's why everyone should feel confident in trying dahlias if you're in 7 and below, because if you get one you don't like, if it doesn't grow well for you, you know, it's the tuber. It's not gonna mar your landscape for forever. And we have plans to do a lot of work in this part of the yard, and I will make a home for these, but I also sort of like the idea, because I have such a variety of color, of kind of moving it around the yard for a few years and seeing what I can do with it, or maybe breaking it up, or maybe just making like 2 straight rows, or I don't know. That's the thing, like, because it's a temporary annual installation, like a tulip display or something like that, like you can kind of do whatever you want with it if you've got the space and you've got full sun. Staking is something that I really underestimated. I knew that they needed it, but I also knew that this is where being more of a designer and less of a gardener comes into play. I cared a lot about the aesthetics. Like, I didn't want to look at a bunch of green sticks. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I could use, and I landed on these square acrylic rods. But because I didn't have them when I planted, I didn't they're not as deep as they should be, because I've been afraid of piercing the tuber. And this is like a definite, like, lesson 1. Put the stake in when you dig the hole. This, I think, would have been a lot easier. Aesthetically, I think they're so cool because they do disappear, but they are so much more work. So I can't fully recommend it. It's just something I'm trying. I think I'm gonna have to give growing dahlias at least a couple seasons with trying different staking methods and materials before I can like really weigh in on what I suggest. But again, I'm by no means, this is my first year growing them. So this is just me giving you guys my experience with what I have learned. Swan Island, Bear Creek, Florist, many places that have lots of experience growing gorgeous dahlias have information on what you can do to grow successful dahlias. So I should have listened, because the number one thing that they all say is to put the stakes in when you dig the hole. So we got lesson 1. Put the stake in the ground when you plant the tuber. So the next part of this was making sure that you're securing the stems to the stake. Because I staked late, put the stakes in late, my plants started to go all wild and crazy, and I didn't even notice because I was just like, yay, they're growing. I did pinch my plants, and so they are very branchy and bushy and full, but I wasn't doing a good job because I had staked late. I was not doing a good job of keeping them tied up because, again, first year doing all of this, and they kind of went all wild. Some of them flopped over what seemed like overnight. Some of them started growing on the ground in order to seek out more light, because I do have them pretty packed together. So start tying them up pretty much immediately. And in order to tie them up, you got to put those stakes in when you first put them in the ground. Next, so those are 2 big lessons that I've learned. But other than that, I feel like I opted to learn to build a drip system because I wanted to make sure that they were getting adequate water, and because we had such, I'm in Philadelphia, so we had such like a crazy hot July. it seemed like nothing was happening. But we had a really, really wet May. And so I definitely had some plants die back. I had tubers come out of the ground rotten. I have like an awesome clip that I'm going to put in here of what like a rotten dahlia looks like, because they can look like beautiful up here. And then you start to see like, it looks like the warm, wet weather version of frostbite. They just like, the stem starts to get black and the plant starts to lose a little, like the stem starts to lose some integrity, and then the whole thing is just like, I'm not having it. If you could take anything away from this, it's that you don't get gorgeous flower arrangements to look at, or even gorgeous flowers for your wedding or for your florist to work with for your special occasion without people. I wouldn't have these dahlias without the people at the two farms, Bear Creek and Swan Island, that I got my tubers from. And they have teams of people that keep the tubers healthy and safe during the winter months. And they have huge teams of people that grow the flowers to produce more tubers for next year and sell and package and market. And then there's me, and also the support of my husband, who let me take over a huge corner of our yard for a gigantic flower experiment. So just try to remember, flowers are gorgeous. and magical and miraculous if you're into that sort of thing, but they don't happen on their own. There are people that make it so we get to love and appreciate them. I am excited to make something with these. I have been making things with them off and on throughout the summer, but I did let the whole garden kind of bloom like crazy so that we could film this. And so I'm going to actually go through and cut all the blooms, make a huge arrangement with all the dahlias that I can to celebrate all this hard work. It was so much fun, and I'm so excited that so many of them worked. If you're excited to see what I do with all these dahlias next, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when that video goes up. And if you want to check out some amazing tuber suppliers for your own dahlia growing experiments, please check out Swan Island and Bear Creek. I'm actually teaching a workshop at Bear Creek in the next couple of weeks, so you can see if there are any spots left. I think it was close to being sold out, so, but maybe they can squeeze in a few more people. And I realize I've been filming with that dead branch. You weren't looking at it, you were looking at the dahlias.